Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to our first business breakfast briefing of 2021 for the Northern New York Fort Drum Association of the United States Army. As you know, I am Michelle Capone. I'm your current president of the chapter. And this morning, we are very honored to have with us this morning our elected representative from the 21st Congressional District, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. And I look forward to hearing her insight as to what she sees for our future here in the North Country, especially with our relationship with the military, defense, and Fort Drum. So without further ado, I'm actually going to turn it over to Congresswoman Stefanik for her comments. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you to all the members of the Northern New York Fort Drum AUSA chapter right here in the North Country. It is great to be with you virtually today, and it was an honor to see you in person when we hosted former Vice President Mike Pence at Fort Drum just a month ago for his final official visit to thank the men and women of the 10th Mountain Division. I also want to congratulate one of the 10th Mountain's own, General Lloyd Austin, for his confirmation as Secretary of Defense. I voted in support of the waiver to allow consideration of General Austin for this cabinet appointment. His understanding of Fort Drum's unique capabilities and our unique community continues to put our installation in a very, very strong position. As we look to the year ahead, I am honored to continue my important role appointed to the House Armed Services Committee. This position allows me to be the chief advocate of Fort Drum in Congress, and I will continue to ensure our community has a seat at the highest levels in Washington. There are critical issues that we face as a nation in the year ahead, and the House Armed Services Committee and Defense Policy will take center stage in many of the discussions with President Biden and the new administration. One of the most significant debates will center around the annual defense budget. Unfortunately, I believe there will be significant pressure to reduce defense spending. We have heard from some of President Biden's senior Department of Defense nominees alluding to potential defense budget cuts of up to 3 to 4%. My perspective is these cuts would be absolutely devastating to our military readiness that we have worked so hard to rebuild over the past 4 years. In addition, as we consider the threats that we face around the world today, they are only growing more complex. We are facing a world that includes threats from competitors like Russia and China, rogue nations in Iran and North Korea, and the persistent threat of terrorist attacks, as well as the latest 21st century threat, cyber attacks. So instead of cutting our defense budget, Congress should focus in investing in skills and technology that allows us to fight wars of the future while developing new innovations to benefit both the defense industry and the civilian sector. And we should always make sure our men and women in uniform have the resources they need. We should never take away from our investment in military readiness. I've also been appointed the lead Republican of a new Armed Services Committee subcommittee called the Cyber Innovative Technologies and Information Systems Subcommittee. This will allow me to be in a strong position to play an important oversight role, overseeing the progress of new technologies within the DoD. Our responsibilities include all areas of cyber, the addition of new technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, and more, as well as 5G and broadband policies and issue. I believe that this subcommittee will allow us to continue to be on the leading edge of confronting China, and important progress must be made in our subcommittee that will become combat multipliers for our troops, including the 10th Mountain Division, to lead more effective missions, ensure their safety, and protect our national security interests around the world. I'm also proud to announce that I will be serving on the Strategic Forces Subcommittee in this Congress. This subcommittee has jurisdiction over our strategic deterrence, nuclear weapons, arms control, space, and most importantly to Fort Drum and the North Country, missile defense. This subcommittee will be home to the most intense debates on the House Armed Services Committee this Congress. Our nuclear arsenal is in grave need of upgrading, and rogue nations around the world are developing their own nuclear programs and sophisticated missile capabilities. Arms control regimes are showing increasing weaknesses, and our missile defense capabilities are unable to adequately defend against these advanced capabilities from our adversaries. My role on this subcommittee will be important: present a direct assessment of the strategic threats we face and advocate for a strong defense against them by improving homeland missile defense capabilities, including an East Coast missile defense site at Fort Drum. And when it comes to a missile defense site at Fort Drum, I will continue to work with the DoD to advocate for the timely establishment of a permanent missile defense site on base, or for the construction of a missile defense underlayer site. This underlayer site would fill important gaps in our homeland missile defense while we are developing the next generation of missile defense, which would be delivered in 2028 at the earliest. In last year's NDAA, we took steps to determine what support system would be needed to build this defense capability. And I was proud to successfully deliver language that names Fort Drum as the preferred location for an underlayer site. And most importantly, I believe that we need to continue to advocate for resources for our military families, especially our spouses and children. I will continue my focus on proposing bipartisan solutions to improve spousal professional licensing, flexibility for families as they move from state to state, support for impact aid for our community schools, and resources for our community hospitals off post that serve our Fort Drum families. My best ideas and proposals for military families comes directly from you in the Fort Drum community. So please continue to work with my office on these important issues. And in closing, I just wanted to encourage all of you who are passionate about supporting Fort Drum and our military families in the North Country to reach out to our 2 elected U.S. senators as well. It is important that we have strong advocates for Fort Drum in both chambers of Congress, and it allows us to make sure that Fort Drum continues to receive the support, resources, and investment it deserves. During this Congress, I will be able to best support Fort Drum, the surrounding community, and the families by hearing directly from you. My office in Watertown is always available. We are very involved in Fort Drum and broader North Country community issues, and I will always be here to answer any questions you have, to help with casework, or also to listen to your policy proposals. So thank you again to the North Country AUSA chapter. Thank you to the Development Authority of the North Country, and of course to our Fort Drum community for the opportunity to give a brief update on what lies ahead this year. Thank you. Climb to glory, and I'll turn it back to you, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman, and we very much support you and your efforts for what you're doing here for the 21st Congressional District. And again, just thank you very much for your time this morning.
I'm glad to be here. I hope it all came through. I know sometimes the cell coverage and broadband can be a little spotty.
It did, yes, it did. It came through.
Great.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. At this time, I would like to take a few seconds to just go over what we've been doing as a chapter this year so far. It's been a few months since our last business breakfast briefing. However, we are moving forward. I mean, it's still trying times, as you can imagine. We're still in the midst of COVID-19, but we are hopefully seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, if that's maybe a good phrase to use. We're moving forward with a newsletter. I'm happy to announce that we're working with Lisa Jeffords, and hopefully our first newsletter will be available in March to our membership. And we hope to continue that to keep you well informed of what's going on with the Northern New York Fort Drum AUSA chapter. We're always looking for input, and if you have any ideas or thoughts of articles or things that you would like to hear about, please shoot an email to myself or any one of the board members on the AUSA board. I will share with you my email is capone.michelle with 2 L's @yahoo.com. Again, capone.michelle@yahoo.com. So if you have any thoughts on newsletter or information that you feel would be helpful coming from the chapter, please contact me. Also in April, we're working with Fort Drum Mountain Community Homes. We're really excited to be partnering with them. April is the month of the military child. And so we have a couple of different events lined up through the entire month where we'll be providing activities and fun events for the children at Fort Drum. So we're really excited to be doing something like that. If you remember, last year was our first year where we had a kids' pizza party. We were actually able to get it in, I believe, the weekend before everything was shut down. So this year we're doing it a little bit differently. We still want to recognize the children and give them something fun to do. So we're partnering with Mountain Community Homes for that event. And there will be more information to follow on that. We're also looking to plan, this is a Soldier 101 for this year. Again, that will be virtual. We're looking to hold that in May. So you will be hearing more information about that. And hopefully that is a great program, especially for employers. If you're looking to educate your staff on just the culture of the Army. It's a great program, condensed into a half-day program, and very, very informational, very, very informative, especially if your employees or staff do business with the military, with the Army. Riverfest is tentatively set for June 24th. And I say tentative because, again, we're still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, and we don't know what that'll look like in June. But we did get a date on the calendar for June 24th. And as those details continue to develop, we hope to have more information to you available about what that event will look like in 2021. And we're also looking at our golf tournament. Again, we're hoping to have something like the one we held this year, if necessary, in August. We were able to pull it off with the help of Willowbrook. Doug McDavid did a great job. We did 2 flights, but it worked out perfectly. And really looking forward to be able to hold an event like that again in August. We're still trying to plan for our Veterans Bike Rally. We'll see where that goes this year, as well as our annual dinner. You know, it's still hard to tell what these face-to-face events will look like. We're also under, you know, guidelines and guidance from national that we're not able to hold face-to-face events with over 10 people until that guidance goes away. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to be able to plan for these face-to-face events in the future. But we are working for you. If you have any questions at any time, you have my email. And we're happy to share whatever information that we have with you and keep you informed as to what is going on. At this time, I know we've been working through a couple of technical difficulties, and we're very happy to have Colonel Williams with us. Colonel Williams is Chief of Staff of the 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum, and always does a wonderful job giving us an update as to what's going on with the 10th Mountain Division. They're always extremely busy. And we always appreciate his input and knowledge. So Colonel Williams, can you see the slide?
Yeah, I can see that. You see the slides, or do you see me?
We see the slides.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay. So I'll turn it over to you now. Thank you.
Great. So first of all, thanks for letting me come back on again today. I always enjoy listening to y'all and getting a chance to speak. Always a pleasure to listen to Representative Stefanik as well. We thank her so much for all that she does, for the installation and the division. It's good again. It was good to see her here a few weeks ago when the vice president was here. That was special for us. Chance to host him for his final, official visit. Again, it was a big deal for us. So I've got some updates for you for the division. A little bit. Just sort of we're kind of further down the road from where we thought we were going to be when I briefed you last time. So I got some new pictures and some different talking points. So we'll get going. We'll go right into the next slide, Michelle. So the division headquarters, many of you may know this. Most of the division headquarters is home now. In fact, we expect the CG home later this week, within Friday, Saturday, Sunday timeframe. And so we're excited about that. Get him back and his team that's been forward with him. There will still be some remnants of the headquarters forward, but it'll just be a few individuals as we wait for different individual augmentees to rotate in and rip them out, and then they'll come back home as well. But we're excited to get the CG back home later this week. What you're looking at there on the pictures is on the top. Of course, that's the CG in Afghanistan. I'm talking with his team, and then it was forward and lower right. That is part of the HHBN. That is the headquarters that is already here, competed in the D series competition last week. I believe y'all are all familiar with that, the D series, and that it occurred last week. That's a picture of them in it. And then that picture on the bottom left was pictures of the headquarters when it was deploying. That's them at the RDF getting ready to go. So it's been it's been a good year for the division headquarters, and like I said, we're thankful to get our way back home again. We'll go ahead and go to the next one. So this is First Brigade. First Brigade is home now. When we last spoke, they were in the process of coming home, and Second Brigade, or part of Second Brigade, was going forward to Afghanistan to relieve them. Well, that transition is complete, and First Brigade is home now. And that's what the pictures on the top are, is them redeploying. That all happened like right around Christmas. We got almost all of them home before Christmas. We had one flight come in after Christmas, but most of them were home. And then that picture on the bottom is just, they're already, back getting after, just like you was expecting to, being light fighters. That's 371 out doing PT, dragging that Skedco sled behind them. First Brigade will undergo quite a bit of transition here over the next 3, 4, or 5 months. They'll change out 3 of the battalion commanders and 1 of the command sergeants major next month. And then the brigade commander will change out in June. And that's all part of the normal, post-deployment process to start a new year, to start a new, cycle for the unit, I should say. All right, go to the Second Brigade. So I think when we talked last time, Second Brigade was maybe at or just about to go to Mountain Peak. Well, obviously that's complete now, and like I said earlier, the 1 battalion that went forward to replace First Brigade, that's occurred. So 431 is in, the bulk of 431 is in Afghanistan now, about 700 people, and they've again replaced First Brigade. The rest of Second Brigade is here, and they're doing a lot of support for some of the other requirements. So they're part of helping Third Brigade, as Third Brigade is going through. They just had their Mountain Peak, and they go to JRTC coming up. Second Brigade will get any support we have for West Point this summer. That'll be their mission. They're still back out, going out to the ranges and working through some of their collective training events. So it's going to be a good, for the part of the brigade that's not forward, it's going to be a good chance for them to get in some great reps here and kind of through the summer. That picture you're looking at, that's obviously some of the soldiers deploying there on the top right, and then on the bottom left, that's the patching ceremony. That's a soldier getting his 10th Mountain Combat Patch there in Afghanistan. All right, go to Third Brigade. So as I said a minute ago, Third Brigade just finished their Mountain Peak. Oddly enough, they are also in having a weather event down there today. So I think you'll probably know this, that the Fort Drum had a do not report order today. Well, so did Third Brigade down at Fort Polk. It snowed at Fort Polk, at least the first time I remember ever. And so they're out today. In fact, they may be out for the next 2 or 3 days from what I heard. But anyway, they did Mountain Peak, and they are now getting ready here in about 2 weeks. They're going to have a big, we're calling it virtual Mountain Peak. It's just like a computer simulation exercise that we're actually going to dial into it from up here, and get a chance to work through some of their command post operations, and just to get another rep before they actually do their JRTC rotation, which will be really the bulk of April. They had a great train up leading up to this. I'm really excited to see them in the box against Geronimo. I think they're going to do real well. Next, we'll go to the CAB. So the CAB is home now. They are, you've probably heard them flying around. Well, not recently because of the weather, but before the weather turned, they were getting a lot of flying hours in. They just flew down and back to Fort Polk. They flew down and supported Third Brigade's Mountain Peak exercise. I know they enjoyed that. And under Third Brigade too, it's always good to get air assault reps, especially when it's from your own aviation task force. So the CAB is back going through all of their flight progressions again. They were, I think I said this last time, but when you're flying in Afghanistan, that's a different type of flying in a coin environment versus if you're flying and training for a large scale combat operation. So they're going back through their training progressions now and doing real well. So we're excited to have them back. Excited to get a chance to do some air assaults with them and do some combined training later on this summer. Them and First Brigade are going to do a combined. We haven't named it yet. Some kind of Falcon Warrior Peak training exercise where the CAB's going to get a chance to do some of their live fire, and as well as some long range flights, and work against some of the air defense threats that we have on the installation. And First Brigade is going to have some soldiers on the ground and get some reps in with working close combat attack with the helicopters. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go to the Sustainment Brigade. Sustainment Brigade has been super busy as always. As you know, as y'all know, the second Sustainment Brigade is always gone somewhere just because there's so many different itty bitty units. They just got back from inauguration support. We had some bus drivers down there. Those soldiers have just come home. They continue to be in Afghanistan. As I said last time before, they were part of the initial COVID efforts to not to give people, not to treat people, but to in process healthcare workers who were coming into the area to work. So they just continue to just grind, and it's always a real pleasure to get a chance to watch those soldiers work. DeVarty. So DeVarty has been integral with really focused on 3rd Brigade right now, both their Mountain Peak. They just spent about a month down at Fort Polk with 3rd Brigade, helping them through their not only in the field, but also their digital fire mission processing work and some CPX type stuff, computer work they were doing at the Sim Center. They've also been helping 1st and 2nd Brigade just work on some of the long lead time parts. Some of the parts that we need for the howitzers take a long time to get just because of where they come from. And so they've been really integral in helping all the brigades expedite that process. But right now we're really focused primarily on supporting 3rd Brigade and helping them get ready for their JRTC rotation in April. As I mentioned earlier, we got the Vice President Pence was here right before inauguration, like the week before. Came on a Sunday. Really special to us to have them there. You can see in the pictures it was a little bit different than when we had the president and vice president and the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff here 2 years ago, just because of COVID. You see how the soldiers were sitting COVID compliant. It was possible, if you were there with your spouse, to sit next to your spouse, but if that person next to you wasn't your spouse, then that person was sitting 6 feet away from you, as you see in the pictures. But real special for us to have him here. We hosted him over in the hangar, just like we did when he and the president and the Joint Chiefs came here 2 years ago. That was a big deal for us, and we were honored to be able to host. Inauguration support. So I said that earlier. You see, these are all the PAO soldiers. I was just talking about the bus driver support. We also had our public affairs detachment down there. These are pictures of them. I was teasing the PAO about how come the PAO's pictures of the PAO are better than the PAO's pictures of the other units. But they did a great job down there. And I know it was a big thrill for them to get a chance to support the inauguration. Those are, once in a lifetime things. And we were honored to get a chance to let them go do that. And know, as you can tell from these pictures, how well they did. And then the last thing I'll say about the installation is just COVID vaccines. So that's ongoing. I think we got our vaccines a couple of weeks before, Jefferson County did, and we're going through it now. We're still obviously giving first shots, but we are also now in our second. There are people who have gotten their second dose now as well. Like I'm one of those people. In fact, later this week, I'll be 2 weeks post second shot. So we're doing that. That's an ongoing effort here on the post, both for, soldiers as well as some of our senior population and high-risk folks as well. So, and that's what you're looking at in all these different pictures here. It's General Funk there on the left. And then you see some of our civilians that were able to get shots as well here on the installation. So, all right, with that, I will close and I'll open up for any questions you might have of me.
Colonel Williams, this is Michelle. What does the deployment schedule look like for 2021 for the rest of the year? What should we expect to see in terms of?
Yeah, so 1st Brigade is home and they're going to stay home. It is possible that we may end up rotating some 2nd Brigade soldiers over to Afghanistan, so send some forward to get some home kind of thing. But there's not a large scale deployment like that. We do anticipate the CAB having a mission deployed later in the fall. size of that to be determined. But I think generally speaking, you're going to see most of the division home for most of the year.
Good. We're always happy to see them here. Although we're very happy for what they do for us around the world as well.
Yeah, it's I've been here stationed here twice, and this is probably one of the few times that I remember so much of the division being here, because it seems like, as you know, it seems like almost always one of the brigades has gone somewhere, like the whole brigade. But this is really essentially the entire division is home right now. And again, the CG will be here later this week.
Well, that's great. And how is everybody, I guess, doing, for lack of a better word, how's everybody doing through the COVID-19 pandemic? I mean, we know that we rely on each other, both the community and Fort Drum. I guess from your perspective, from the military perspective, how is it going? How is everybody doing?
Yeah, I think it's good. We've obviously adapted to this sort of new normal. We've been doing it now for almost a year, which seems kind of crazy to think about. But, even like this morning, like this meeting we're on right now, my ability to do this, remotely, or any of the other meetings we do that, previously we would have felt like we all had to be together, but have the ability now to, do them remotely. But finding ways to continue to train, even though, you're trying to maintain social distance and wearing masks, it may be challenging. But I think the soldiers have all really, and families have all really adapted well. It's just sort of accepted this is where we're at. This is what we have to do. And I think, again, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I might have said, we were still trying to figure it out. But I kind of think we've got it sorted out now, and have a good way forward. And most folks have really just sort of adapted to it, and we're able to kind of get back and do many of the things we used to always do. There's a lot of, there's some things that we still can't do. As y'all know, we didn't do the Oktoberfest this year, and we're trying to find ways to see if there's some kind of way we can do some sort of spring social of some kind. Where I'm not sure if and how we could do that, but we are looking at things like that, trying to figure out, instead of what can't we do, is what can we do and do in a COVID environment.
Yes, we can second that, because as you heard from my comments, we're doing the same thing, but I think partnering with a lot of our corporate partners, we're coming up with ways that we can work together to still provide services or programs, but in, like you said, in a COVID-friendly environment.
Yeah. NWR has been great,
Yes.
And every week we work with NWR on, trying to figure out how can we do, one of their events. How could we host, I'm making this up right now, but how could we host a softball tournament? How could we, get the pond open, not the pond, but we had an ice rink. How could we get the ice rink going so people could go skate? How could we, do a Volksmarch, right? And they've figured it all out, and all been, COVID compliant. So it's been good. And I think the families enjoy that based off the turnout of the events.
Well, and what can the community do to support Fort Drum at this time? What can we do? I know that's always the question.
Well, I think it's just, continuing to sort of partner together and, appreciate and understand that each other has our, we each have that we're in this together, and we each have, the various, considerations based off of, COVID. Right. But I largely think that we're doing real well here on post. I think it's just continue to work together, trying to figure out how we can maximize as many opportunities as possible.
Okay. And where would you say would be the best point of contact to do that? Would it be through MWR? If some of our corporate partners were looking to try to help out?
Yeah, probably through MWR. They probably have the most flexibility to work the various, any kind of options out there. They more so than any of the other groups on post, and they're great. They've been really, them and the garrison office, in general, Colonel Lucas and Mr. Wagonar and their team, between them and MWR, I feel like that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just want to say thank you. These are great updates. I can't remember a time when we've been able to have presentations like this that are detailed about what each of the units are doing at Fort Drum, and hear hear exactly what's going on. So I really appreciate that. I think our membership appreciates that. And again, thank you very much for your presentation today and your time. That's all I have for you today for our business breakfast briefing. We hope to have more of these again throughout the year. Hopefully this virtual format works for you. We would love to be face-to-face again, but time will tell when we can do that safely. So again, from the Northern New York Fort Drum Association, United States Army, stay safe, be well, and thank you again for participating today.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for having me on. And, I've enjoyed doing these, selfishly. I'm a little bummed. The CG's coming back, so he's going to wind up doing these. Y'all will get him. Y'all probably would rather hear from him anyway, but he'll be back and he'll want to do these. So y'all will get a chance to hear him next time. But I always appreciate y'all letting me come on, and I've enjoyed, talking about the division with you.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, have a good day, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.